Hello there. So today I have a story to share, and that is why I look awkward. So you'll be imagining what I have on my face. Okay, so today I got exposed to fire and I have reacted to it because of the nature of the activity that required my attention, or the event that required my attention, and with the kind of response which kind of made me sick afterwards. I've been battling with respiratory discomfort so far. So in order for me to go back to the room, I've had to make for myself a tissue nose mask, and I use it to cover my nose so that I can breathe well, and so that I can sleep too. So the purpose of this video is I felt very uncomfortable with the incidents that I feel I should make this known before it's too late. So I feel I should make this known before it's too late. Now I imagine that if I fall sick today and maybe die in the next 3 days, what will happen to the ideas in my head? The sort of mission I thought I ought to have gone far with and accomplished. What will happen to the mission? And then, is there anyone who has my kind of mission, and who are they and what are they doing about it? So because I felt so sick by this fire incident, I decided to share my mission, kind of, so in case another incident occurs again, because accident can happen at any time and life might be up at any time, someone should know what my mission really is and how to carry it on if I'm not there to carry it on. So it begins with a question. Looking at yourself and the way you go about your everyday activities, there is this one thing that keeps you going. First of all, you breathe to live. So once the breath of life is gone, you are dead. But outside breathing alone is not enough to sustain you. You have to eat. Now my question begins with the eating necessity, or the feeding necessity. How long can you go without food before you fall sick and die? So I asked someone this question beginning with the first day. I said, if you do not eat for the whole of today, is there any way you will feel that will make you feel different from the days you eat? And since she's the cook in the apartment I stay, and I stay in a religious residence, and she's always exposed to food, so her experience would be unique. So but she said something that yes, if she goes a day without food, she won't feel good, because going in the morning alone without food makes her feel very uncomfortable. I said, okay, now you go a whole day without food, and then it stretches to the second day, how will you feel? Will you still feel good? She said it will get worse. I said then the third day, you go again without food. The fourth day, without food. Fifth day, sixth, and the first week without food. She said she will die slowly. And this is when it dawned on me that my mission is a very important mission. Because like her, every other person who goes a day without food begins to feel that pinch, that discomfort. And then as the day goes by and the ration of food starts dwindling until you can no longer access food, you begin to die slowly. So the fastest way to die slowly without any unnatural cause is to go without food. Now the human body is resilient, of course, and able to adapt to situations of hardship, but it's not for too long. Nobody would stay a whole month without food and still feel the same. So ask this question to yourself: how long can you go without food? And if you have answered like her, the cook, and you know that for real you cannot go without food, then I want to tell you that it is time now for you to make adequate preparation to survive the days coming. Now, I am not saying with absolute that the day coming would definitely bring this situation of kind of general hunger and starvation. I do not know for sure if it will be, but from all the researches I have done, I am sufficiently informed that the days coming, triggered by sort of world war, economic depression, and a neo-fascist global state. That's neo-fascist, where government will use force on people to subject them to certain new policies that will be made. That's neo-fascist, where people will have to live according to certain new policies made by policies made by policies made by policies made by policies, and defiance to them will be a crime against the state. So in such a neo-fascist state, which in our religious parlance we call the age of the Antichrist, it is going to be that there will be scarcity of food that will be prolonged even beyond a year to almost 3 years. And if we are not making adequate preparation for that day coming, then we are saying that we know we can survive without food for as long as a year. But I know nobody will say it that he or she can survive without food. Now, if I use myself for an example, I can't go a day without food because I get hungry very quickly. And I've been asking myself, if I cannot make adequate preparations now, when those days of hardship will come and there won't be food, the crops will not grow because there will be contamination of crops, deliberate contamination of course, and then the food stores will not open because their license will be withdrawn for them unless they comply to the new policy made by the fascist government. And then nobody will have the means to purchase food unless they also agree to the new conditions for spending based on new policies on spending, new monetary requirements that will be there. And everybody faces the same situation. Is there any way, is there anything we can do on a collective basis to survive the hardship of these days coming? So I believe that yes, there is something we can do, and that is what I call my mission. So now I want to talk about my mission. My mission is to make preparation for these days coming, days of hardship, when we will all be plunged into a situation where there will not be sufficient food for everybody. So food insecurity will become a reality of the present day, not the fear of the future. And since there won't be enough food, people will scramble for the little food available, and when it runs out, people will start indulging in criminal activities. of course, undoing others for their own sustenance, and that will be like what is required as at then, because there will be no solution from the government or the state, and then everyone needs to care for themselves. When such days come, my question will still be, will our affiliations with our different groups, whether cultural, social, economic, political, and religious, be something we can cling to get the supplies we will need for those days? Are our institutions where we are affiliated to or members of making their own preparation to support us as members in a manner that when those days of hardship come, we can run to them and make do with whatever provisions will be made to us? Look well, not just to say yes or no. What is your own institution doing? If they are doing nothing, then what are you doing? Which means you cannot rely on your current institution where you are affiliated to as a member, either religious, social, cultural, political, economic, whatever institution it is. You cannot rely on it. Call it your church. You can't rely on it unless the church as a community has the foresight to make this kind of preparation I'm talking about. And because I believe that no one is making this preparation, of course I can't say no one, because this insight coming to me may have also come to a lot of others. In fact, I've seen a movie that plays it called The Second Coming of Christ. So it means that the insight is already there, and from where I studied my own basis for conclusion from, the source also indicates that yes, there will be such a day coming. And since it is inevitable that we'll have such a day, for instance, we had foreknowledge of the coming World War III, and today we are already in the situation where the world is at war. Ukraine has become the stage, Russia has become the defensive aggressor, and then the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, popularly known as NATO, has also become an aggressor, and each of these entities are clashing with each other for something that is, I mean, one can say this is not cogent enough for there to be war, okay? But it is degenerating into a world war, and the stage is already set for the war. All military equipment and apparatus have been deployed to the setting, which is Ukraine. And this is bringing the worlds together. All warlike and World War II or World War II alliance are coming back together to enforce that pact they've had to protect each other member state of NATO. And that is what is happening right now. So if such a war that was foreseen is really coming to be, then what stops us from believing that the food crisis is going to come to be? So some of us are just refusing to wake or come to terms with the reality of the foretold crisis will be experienced in the coming days. Now let's look at the war itself as it plays out. If it degenerates as it starts right now, if it degenerates or escalates as we call it, the fact is that every nation involved in this war will suffer serious economic damages that will need reparation, that will take years to be achieved. Every nation that gets involved in the Third World War will be impacted negatively economically, and that means that their institutions will fail. Institutions now, financial institutions and manufacturing institutions or organizations, supply chain, everything will be affected. The labor market, the industries where jobs are created will be affected. Hence there will be unemployment, there will be starvation, there will be hunger, there will be poverty, there will be zero cash flow. So a lot of people will go bankrupt. And if this is an existential crisis, a reality of the time, and we are not seeming to be ready for it, and it's already before us, then why do you think that after the World War there will not be a complete collapse of the global economy? And when when it happens, we'll still have the malicious entities that will want to dominate the world stage, like the United Nations, and they will go at length to use any means whatsoever to impose their control measures on the world in a bid to rebalance the world or global economy. Now, since this is futuristic but at the same time existential, because we're already seeing the war playing out in Ukraine, then it is time that we all make preparations wherever we are. And I said I have a mission, and my mission is to use the means I have, intellectual means right now, because financially, if I had the financial means, I would have gone far. Okay, so use the means I have intellectually right now to communicate with whoever cares to listen the need for preparation. And if we are going to put heads together, then I already have an initiative that can thrive, where using our current access to our bank accounts, our savings accounts, our investment accounts, we can begin to make preparation for food insecurity that is coming before us. And how do we do that? Now, we are all individually supposed to have a garden or a kind of farm yard where we go to cultivate food for ourselves. That is the first answer to the problem, if we can all do that individually. But because of the modern way of life, almost 50%, let me not be too much exaggerating here, 50% of world population will be unwilling to go into farming of any kind, because it will be considered outdated. And if you are in the same school of thought and you consider farming outdated, then my solution is for you. Why not we use the resources at hand now? You have free access to your cash in the bank right now before the great global economic collapse or deluge. You have access to your investment portfolios right now. They are still there tied to investment portfolios because you are believing that you will reap them in the future, whereas we are going to experience a complete economic collapse that nobody will account for investment portfolios you have had anywhere. Now, why don't we build a food trust fund or food hedge fund? Now, I'm saying this because I have kind of intricate relationship with asset management, and I know how these things work. Now, if we channel our resources into creating a new decentralized, democratized hedge fund dedicated to food supply, that's food value chain, all encompassing, including food production, food processing, food storage, and then food distribution. If we can go headlong into this initiative for using our resources right now to channel them into food security projects, we might be able to survive the times coming. Now, I have always had this idea that God can make someone like the Joseph in Egypt that will help us in our time to survive the hard times coming. And I always pray that God give me the wisdom of Joseph. And I also believe that God has given me the wisdom. That is why I have the initiative. So, but how do I am not in a position of authority, unfortunately, like Joseph was a governor in Egypt. Okay, so I am no governor, I am no chairman of any investment corporation or a big bank right now. I am just the single simple I. And then I am still struggling to put myself together to even take care of myself. How much more take care of larger society or even a state? Which means that my personal capacity cannot get me anywhere to realize this dream and this vision. Yes, I might have known a lot of things because of my interaction with the startup tech world, and I may have got a lot of insight, but none of these are enough because I need to be in a position of control and authority. But how do we develop or derive authority? It is from the people. because government derives its authority from the people. Now, government, as we know it, relies on the democrats, that's the kratos, in this case the people in the state, to give them their vote of confidence. That's for them to now use their office to serve the interest of the people. So, but first of all, they rely on the people to give them a vote of confidence for them now to get into office and use their office to serve the people. So it's two ways. And that is still what I'm saying, that yes, I might not be in government, I might not be in any position of authority that I can really have. I'm not a social influencer, I'm not a corporate founder, or I have not right now instituted any startup. I have all of these things only as initiative. And then I say, what if I die and I do not achieve any of these things? Is there anyone out there who can carry on this vision and mission? That is why I'm doing this video, because today I had an encounter with fire that I felt I could die. So, and I asked, if I die, what happens to all my vision, all my sense of mission and purpose? So, for anyone out there who is listening to me right now, I need your vote of confidence, like the government needs your vote of confidence. Because if you give me your vote of confidence, I will be able to convert it into resources that will now help to serve your interests in terms of food security tomorrow, because that is what I consider my mission, deriving from the wisdom of Joseph in Egypt. And what Joseph did, he used his good office as governor of Egypt to store food, knowing that first of all, Pharaoh was collecting tax from people's farming proceeds, and every time there is harvest, Pharaoh makes they make remittance, kind of taxation is paid to Pharaoh, and he saw the need to use their agro tax payments to store for the future. And then Pharaoh also bargained with a lot of people, using the office of Joseph now in the place of Pharaoh, of course a governor acting in the place of Pharaoh, to collect more remittances for the government. Now I'm sure that at the time he was going out taxing people, they did not understand the importance of that, because Pharaoh was not planting, but Pharaoh was in control of all the lands of Egypt. Because as it became, everybody now willed their right to farmland to Pharaoh, and Joseph brought this initiative, not a kind of socialist concept of government controlling everything. That was not the idea. He had this idea of preparing for a day that there might be famine. He may have had the insight that there could be a day like that, and he said, okay, if we go collect tax in this other way, we can convert it into a means to sustain our people. Now, if our people come to buy food from us without going out to look for food, we are recycling back what they gave to us. Okay, so that is the same initiative that rules in the religious institutions, the churches. If the religious leaders collect tithes and everybody were faithful with their monthly tithe, and they converted this tithe into making preparations like Joseph, I'm sure that at least 1% of the church can survive in the hard times coming if they have the initiative. So, but I don't own a church that I'll say, okay, I have the initiative, let me put it to practice. I don't own an NGO or any foundation, because right now I am still trying to take care of myself. So, but I only have the initiative, and at the same time I have the zeal and the passion that if I have the vote of confidence and anyone commits to my project, since I already have a defined roadmap for achieving this, and I might need to let the name out so that in case you hear of it tomorrow too, you will know this is what I talked about and this is where it is going. So my roadmap, which I have defined into a corporate plan or a business plan as we call it, is known as Food Slot, and annexed to Matspacemall. Now, I have been using Matspacemall publicly. A lot of people don't know what it is about. So, but it is still woven around this mission of bringing the wisdom of Joseph to play in modern day, threatened by all the scientific manipulations going on so far that might lead us into this plunge, like the nuclear weapon development. If any of such things are used or is used on the world, we will all be finished. Even if we do not die like physical death, our environment will change forever, and we might need to come up with a new idea about food production, processing, storage, and of course distribution, which makes for an economy. So I believe that we all need food for survival, and if we start today to make the preparation to have food security or sort of insurance, we will be able to survive the days coming. And that is why I am calling on whoever cares to listen to either do one or two things. One is keep your private farm. Keep your private farm. Get a farmland now. Buy good seeds now. Sow them, and when you sow, when you harvest, it is like an investment. Okay? So just like you invest for years to reap the returns, when you harvest from your farmland, put it in a storage. Okay, not everything for consumption now, because you will depend on it tomorrow. For those things that can stay, of course, things that can be stored, which means that for those things that cannot be stored for a long time, you need to process them and store them in a manner that, because of processing done on them, they can outlast their natural or organic timeline. That's the first way forward. But if you are already caught up with too much engagement and you feel you cannot do this farming, then my second solution is invest in a food security project or program like the one I am coming with, known as Food Slot and Matspacemall. Now what I'm doing here, I have to let it out too, because I can die at any time and nobody carries it on. So let me let it out. What I'm doing here on Matspacemall is I appeal to homeowners, house owners, everyone out there that has a bank account, a savings account, to do a like savings for food in Matspacemall called Food Budget. So a like savings, just like you save without attaching anything to it. Say this savings I'm doing every month is for my food for the future. Now, you can immediately start servicing that budget, of course, by taking back from Matspacemall, instead of you to bring money from anywhere else again and shop food for your household. You can say, okay, I have money with Matspacemall, let me shop with Matspacemall. Okay, now while you are shopping with Matspacemall, Matspacemall is generating revenue, okay, because we now have to service your household food demands by making supplies to your household with your own budget with us. We now have to service your household that food supply, and we'll make profits from there. Now we have a vision that you don't have on what to do with our profits, which at the end of the day will still be given back to you. Hence, when you work with Matspacemall, you are empowering us with the revenue we generate from that transaction, bilateral trade transaction, that we are now going to have the resources we need to invest in our food production, processing, and distribution technology project known as Food Slot. So Food Slot becomes the way we are going to give back to society, because we will now be investing our profits in development of production developing our production capacity, acquiring landed assets, making use of them for farming for commercial scale, processing, storage, and getting them ready for distribution when the time comes. That way, from what we'll be doing, if it happens that the war gets so bad and the economic crisis we are talking about happens in the next 2 to 3 years, we would already have done 1 or 2 harvests that can sustain people for a period of time. And since we have already used the initiative of Joseph, it means that we will have the seeds to sow for the next farming season. So we will be farming in our own protected space, while everyone else is running and looking elsewhere to acquire their seed and their groceries and all that. We already have a way of recycling because we are using the wisdom of Joseph. So I'm saying this now for whoever cares to listen, because I know that as long as I'm still alive, I will try my best to work on this project until I achieve it, and that is the Matspacemall. So now, if you know that you cannot set up your own farm and monitor it and start doing food storage, food processing and storage for your own family's need, if you know you cannot do that, then the same way you run a savings account and insurance coverages, Matspacemall now has a program that allows you to deal with us directly by having a food budget with Matspacemall. And your food budget will now be such that you can service it today for the sake of the future. That is, just run like an insurance coverage, keep putting money in your food budget, then we will convert them into a unit of food stuff that you can acquire from our food slot facility in the coming years. Okay, so while in the meantime you are only doing us a cash deposit, like buying an insurance cover, okay, or an insurance policy for the food security of your household, as you like to call it, then we now have these funds with us and use it to put into our food slot production, processing, storage, and ready for distribution facilities. That way, tomorrow, when your financial institutions are now coming up with new policies about how your access to funds will now have to follow a new procedure, you can now say, okay, I was ready for this. I already have my food insurance with Matspacemall. I think this is now time for me to dilute my investment with Matspacemall and start getting food supplies for my household. Now you cannot, let's look at it this way. Let's do a practical assessment. So let's say every month you are storing, that you are saving the same amount you spend on your food consumption at home with Matspacemall every month, okay? How many months will it take you to feed your household for the next 1 or 2 years when there will be a food crisis in the world? How many? It will take you 12, okay? 12 monthly investments or 12 monthly deposits into your food budget with Matspacemall to feed your household for 1 year, right? It will take you 24 to feed your household for 2 years, right? It will take you 36 to feed your household for what? 3 years. So if you have the initiative to do this for the food security of your household today, it implies that you may have made enough preparation for your household's food supply in the future by doing this with Matspacemall today. So while you are doing it today, you may not know the value of it, but because you are doing it to the same scale you feed your household today, okay? Or let's say you say, okay, we consume $50,000 monthly. Now let us go for $25,000 and we use the remaining $25,000 to do food insurance with Matspacemall for our household. Okay, which means that we are cutting our feeding right now for the sake of tomorrow. So you still don't feel too much change because it's just 50%. Okay, if you consume 4 slices of bread in the morning, you can now start going for 2 slices of bread, so that you start training your body to adapt to the hard times coming. Because if you don't do this training today and tomorrow those hard times come, you will not be able to stay even a week. Okay, so you can now train yourself and your family by doing this kind of food insurance with Matspacemall. And all you have to do is divide your food expenses or food budget into 2, half for today and half for the coming years. Okay, so today in the next years to come when there will be hardship. So then calculate it for a month and put it with Matspacemall. Okay, you have now done 1 month future food insurance. Okay, future food insurance with Matspacemall. Now Matspacemall, that is only investing in food security projects. Okay, will have you and your family satisfied in the future than any other company you are running an investment with, when there is a reason what is called forces majeure, which in law implies when a company is unable to meet the needs of its clients as a result of some natural and some events that could not have been predicted, or if predicted could not have been, there is no way to have escaped the consequences of them. Because of such incidences, the company is unable to meet the terms of agreement with their clients. That in such situations there is no liability. Okay, that's forces majeure, when it perjures the term of an agreement between a company and its clients, or its contractors or investors, are the case may be. So other companies will have this excuse when the time comes: oh, it wasn't our fault, war broke out, there was civil disruption, there was, and your money is gone, your asset is gone. Okay, they will now have to be dealing with themselves because that time the situation is in their favor. But Matspacemall now would have given you the benefit, since we are now the ones making adequate preparation for the time when forces majeure will prevent other institutions from servicing you. We will not service you that time when there is an excuse. Okay, because we made preparation for that time, they didn't make preparation for that time. That's the difference. So when others are disappointing you, Matspacemall will be opening the doors. Okay, and of course then it will be too late, because let me tell you, this is for fact. Yes, my initiative is to take care of everyone as possible, but I can't take care of anyone who has not done an investment with Matspacemall. It's not possible. Okay, so then I will be feeding the households that already have subscriptions with Matspacemall, and not the person who did not have subscription with Matspacemall. So I will not say I'm running a charity organization, because there is going to be a continuity for as long as the period will last. So those days where we will now be giving our stock, we will need to be bringing in new stock for storage, okay, to replace the stock we are giving out. Otherwise, we cannot service all those who have made investments with us. So if we start giving food to just anyone who has not built an account or customer relationship with Matspacemall, it means that we will not be able to fulfill our promise to those who have a subscription with us. And that is a very important point I'm trying to make here, because yes, right now I'm talking like one who only has a vision and has not brought it down to reality, but tomorrow it will be down there operating and you do not know about it. And then when the worst happens, you start doing the unusual. Okay, you start doing what you are not supposed to do just because you did not make preparation. So in case tomorrow you hear of Matspacemall, know that it is what I am talking about today that is now out there. And then I am servicing only those who had heard about it and subscribed for it. And I will not be servicing you tomorrow, because like Christ will say, I do not know you. Indeed, I will not know you then, because you have no customer account with me. I'm saying this for the benefit of those who have foresight, who can listen and understand that what I'm saying is not mystery. This is something that is already backed with incidences going on in the world right now. I'm asking that if this world war already starting in Ukraine escalates, how will you take care of your family for the next months to come, when there will be complete destabilization of every economic and political institution out there? The banks will not give you your money. Investment houses will not give you your money because of forces majeure, and then supply chain will be disrupted, disorganized, which means that the food stores, the grocery stores, the markets will not open, because everybody will have to hoard what they have for their own consumption, this is when those in the middlemen or supply chain, in the distributors block of the supply chain, will now know, oh, thank God we have been in this business, so we have some of these stocks we can now use to take care of ourselves. Oh, let's see how long it will last. And for those who we are busy buying and selling, they may not have enough to even feed themselves for a month, but at least they could survive for a month, unless they are wise to share their ration. Let's say if we will consume this for a day, they'll divide it into 8 places. Okay, so consume 1/8 today, and then we know that we can now feed ourselves for 8 days. Okay, so that will be the wisdom. That's for those who will have the insight, who will not just say, oh, because we have stock now, let us eat. Okay, while they are all starving, maybe in a month time things will restore to normal. Just like in the COVID time, everybody thought that, oh, this could last so long, and they hoarded the goods. Then those who were selling at a higher price. Okay, but this is where those who subscribe to Matspacemall today will be having the benefit, because then you will still be affording the same food stuff you had paid for at the price you had paid for it. Okay, the same price you could buy before the crisis, while others are spending 10 times the price. For those who are still selling, will be giving you at the same price you had paid for, so you will not need to be paying new money, okay, to acquire food from Matspacemall, because you have already bought a slot with Matspacemall. That is why our project is called Food Slot, because you have already bought a slot for the quantity of food you will need that will last you the period of time for the cash you paid for it. Okay, and this is just like any stock option that you are exercising. Okay, that is, say you buy a stock at a price that the founders had kept, okay, low for the first those who are early bird subscribers, they can get it at a lower price. Then when it appreciates in value, those who did not have their units reserved for them will be buying at the appreciated price, while those who have unit reserved can still be buying at the lower price. So that is how it works. So, but in our own case, you will be accessing foodstuff at the same price you had bought them and stock. That is futures trade. Okay, now for those of you who are acquainted with the financial market, you know what futures trade mean. Okay, say in crude oil, in commodities trade, futures deals or contracts are such that people pay today for the price of goods today, in view of if price changes tomorrow, we can still access it at the same price today. Okay, so if the price inflates tomorrow, what we will be paying for this contract is the price we have signed for today. That's futures contract, futures deals, and that is exactly what we are doing. Okay, so in our own case, you are already subscribing for the units or slots of food stuff that will be supplied to your household based on the price it was at the time of subscription, not the price it would have gained at the time of diluting your investment with us. If you can understand this, then you know that we are making sense and we are trying to help out. Okay, so why not take advantage of this time we'll still have? Okay, let's say it's already too late. In fact, okay, I'm not even sure that Matspacemall will be able to deliver the promise it has, because the time is already too short. If this war escalates now and we have not started investing in farmland, in food production, and in food store processing and storage, it means that we might not even meet up, because right now Matspacemall is not on ground. We don't have any subscribers. Okay, we don't have any subscribers. Okay, there is kind of a power changeover, and okay, it's been restored. All right, so we don't have any subscribers right now, and what can we do if we do not start right now? Even why I'm saying this is that there is no time. If we do not start right now, then what is our chance of succeeding tomorrow? So I'm only saying this so that in case I don't achieve it tomorrow, there will not be any reason to say, okay, nobody thought of it, I thought of it, okay, and I have a project for it. And that is what I call your attention to also, so you can take advantage of what we have and make adequate preparation for your household food supply with Matspacemall. I mean, I've been talking for 45 minutes now, and I know that even if I spend the rest of 15 minutes talking about this, so many persons out there will still not take advantage of this information. So let me repeat what I've said. We have two options. First of all, you can take care of your household yourself, because that's the first and highly recommended option. Okay, if every household was to make preparation for themselves alone, you will still survive without Matspacemall. But because there are about 50% of world population that will not make preparation, that is why Matspacemall has a reason for being. Okay, that is the necessity for setting up Matspacemall. And because many people will give the excuse of, okay, no time, we are already occupied with this and that, we already have investment with this and that, we cannot dilute investment now, you are too new. In fact, you don't have a reputation of already dealing with other customers, so we can't even invest with you. Don't worry, we'll be fine. All these excuses will be there. Okay, and for sure, if I am alive, I will endeavor to achieve Matspacemall if I am alive. Okay, but if anything happens to me now and there is nobody to carry on the vision of Matspacemall, then unfortunately that dream will die with me, and you will not have to take care of your family, as the case may be. Okay, but right now I'm alive and the vision is still with me, because I've always prayed for God give me the wisdom of Joseph. Okay, and that is what I am talking about right now, because I believe God has already given me the wisdom of Joseph. That is why I've done my corporate planning for Matspacemall and Food Slot. Okay, and I'm talking to you, sharing this vision and idea with you, because this is the story behind Matspacemall. If I don't have the opportunity of sharing it again elsewhere, I'm sharing it now. This is the vision and mission and purpose and reason of being of Matspacemall. And I'm calling on you, take advantage of this information. Start keeping 50% of your food budget with Matspacemall. We already have a platform, like I have already built the platform for this, so it's not that I'm saying this without anything on ground. I've already built the platform for it, like technology wise. Already have a site, Matspacemall.com is already there, and if you go to the shop, you will see one of the products outlined or listed, food budgets. That's because I have already put this my initiative on ground. And if you go through Matspacemall, read everything on the site, you will see that I have already discussed this. But I don't have an audience, like I'm not a celebrity, I'm not a public figure, and I'm not yet in the startup space that any investor has invested in Matspacemall. Right now, there is no investment in Matspacemall. It's just a project waiting for its time. And if it doesn't get realized, of course, my domain will expire, my hosting will expire, nobody will be there to service it if I'm not there, because there is no subscriber yet. But if you start subscribing to Matspacemall now, we will start generating revenue, and I've explained the simple process of this. So I'm saying that not all your subscription today will have to be like an insurance for the future. Okay, you can start servicing your food budget with Matspacemall by saying, okay, instead of me to be spending from my bank, okay, when I want to buy food, I spend from my ATM, spend from cash at hand, and without keeping record. Let me start keeping record with Matspacemall. Okay, still the same thing. Then I now want to shop my food stuff from Matspacemall rather than just spending it anywhere, so that Matspacemall will make profit, generate revenue first of all for my transaction with them, and make profit and use their profit to pursue their mission and serve me at the end of the day with the results that way still you are empowering Matspacemall to come on board. But if you don't start using Matspacemall today, and I mean, it happens that we don't realize our vision, our domain expires, no subscriber, our hosting expires, no renewal, the vision is dead, or I die. Let's say because this war, anybody can die at the war, and I die, okay, and nobody carries on the vision. What do we do? To your tents, O Israel. So I'm saying this because I don't know what will happen. I'm just like you. We are the same. Anything can happen to any of us. I can die. You can die. Okay? Or if we both survive the war, then what about the economic crisis that will follow? That is what I'm talking about. Not just the war, because we can survive the war. I mean, we can survive by God's grace. But after the war, how do we deal with the hardship? Because every nation involved in the war will experience disruption of their economic process. All economic institutions, social and political institutions will crumble. This is a fact. Like, this is what happens after every war. So it is not like something of the far future. This is something happening today because the war has started in Ukraine already. Okay? So anything will happen. Not can happen again, because anything will happen right now. The war has started. If your nation is involved in this war and you don't have the preparation and you survive the war, because survival first, if you survive the war, then dealing with the economic situation that will come, you will not have a job, your business will crumble, no customers, no clients, no contracts, no stores, no bank, no food shop, no farmland, no nothing, no preparation made for it. You suffer, okay? And not just you, everyone out there who is unprepared will suffer. So I'm saying this because I have done a number of videos, of course, on YouTube. I don't have views, so I'm doing this to add to the pile of videos I've done already. No views. Who is going to promote it? I don't have all the resources for doing all of those promotions. I might have, yes, try it using WhatsApp, share my links and all that, but who cares to listen? Man, at times like this, everybody is deaf and nobody is listening. In fact, because the world has become so filled with information from different sources, nobody knows what to listen to again. An overload of information is already out there. You on your phone, you see recommendations from your Google, from browsers you have viewed with cookies tracking your phone IP address, and they just give you information you do not bargain for. You open your email, you see a lot of emails from companies sending you newsletters. You don't know what to listen to. Okay, so it's not your fault if you do not access information like this, but if you have accessed it, you can help someone out there to also know about it by doing them a favor, by sharing. Share to your contact. That is how most people's videos and all that get viral. Then others also use some tricky headlines like do this today, this is happening there and here, and people view and that is it. But I don't have that time to do that because I'm honest about my dealings, okay? And I will just rely on grace. If God, of course I can't blame God if nobody sees it, okay? So it's not even in the business or domain of God's intervention. Alright, so but if circumstance work aligning with my desires in this case, and I happen to get views, and you happen to find this video by chance, then take action. Matspacemall is already out there, so I'm not talking from the blues. Matspacemall, you can search the domain matspacemall.com, spell it as you hear it, or check the description of this video and you'll see matspacemall.com. Then go to shop, click on cloud shopper, okay, shop on Matspacemall. When you go to the shop, go down, scroll to the products line, you will see food budget. Click on food budget. I think you can have food budget from $1. Yeah, that's from $1. You can start keeping food budget as low as $1. Okay, so that should show you that it can accommodate any amount of food budget you want to keep with Matspacemall, and it is a product. So which means that you're already buying something. It's not like you are investing per se. You are buying something, but the timeline will depend on when you want to make use of it. So we are not saying that, okay, yeah, every money kept to Matspacemall, they have to be for the future use. No, not at all. Why? Because if you service Matspacemall food budget today and you shop with your food budget of Matspacemall, we'll be generating profit. So you are not even relying 100% on your food storage, your food budget for the future, food insurance for the future. But if you are wise, okay, and you are thinking for the good of your family, you can decide to extend the timeline of diluting your food budget. You can extend the timeline to say 3 months, 6 months, or once in 6 months. Okay, I've been keeping my food budget to Matspacemall. Let me just try them for this month and see how good they are. Okay, good thing. It means that way you are not really using everything you are keeping with Matspacemall, because you are keeping it for future use. Then Matspacemall now has enough leverage with the capital we have acquired from those who have purchased our food budgets, because it's a product of Matspacemall. Buy from our food budget. Okay, just go there, click to buy, that's add to cart, select the amount you want from 500 naira, which we did as the equivalent of $1, depending on if the price goes up or not. So 500 naira, that's the exchange rate for $1. Okay, multiply it by the amount you usually spend. At least every amount can multiply by 1. Is that also? So if you spend 25, multiply it by 500 naira. That's it. If you spend 50, if you spend $50, multiply it by 500. Say 50 by 500 naira. That's it. So simple maths. Anybody can keep their food budget with Matspacemall. So we are not just there for the class of the rich. Even if it's 1 naira, $1 you spend, $1 can buy you a loaf of bread, right? Correct. $1 can buy you a pack of noodles to prepare for your children. Is that right? So anybody can use Matspacemall food budget right now. Then as you use Matspacemall food budget, you are empowering us through the revenue we will generate from your transaction with us. Okay, you're empowering us to have the funds, because let's do it this way. The way we operate is very simple. Our business model has no mystery around it. Okay, right now a customer comes to Matspacemall, creates an account, and buys. In fact, at the time you are buying our food budget, you're already creating the user account with us, so you can always log in to your account and see how far you have spent with us. So the record is there. There's nothing like saying, okay, Matspacemall will not keep me updated tomorrow. No. Everything you purchase with us has a record automatically, because we are using an e-commerce solution that tracks everything transparently. We cannot alter it once you buy a product with us. And once you keep your transaction record, because of your login ID, you don't need to write it down anywhere. So just keep your login ID. Okay, and it's as simple as that. Okay, now we will always stay online also, because if you are servicing us, we now have cash flow that we can use to renew our hosting and domain. When it expires, we can renew it. Okay, so it means we'll always stay online. Your record will always be with you because you have your login details. So now I said this is easy and accessible to anyone. Just go to matspacemall.com, click on shop. Okay, that's cloud shopper, or shop from Matspacemall, or shop on the cloud, whichever button you see there, click on it to shop. Okay, we have the option for also sell, so you are buying, so click to shop. Okay, and when you click the button to shop, you will go to the shop.matspacemall.com, and then you go down, scroll down, you see our food budgets, all the food listing there we have put there. Go to food budget and click food budget. Put the amount you want to try. You can try $1 first, so that you see how it works. Okay, purchase $1 food budget from Matspacemall, and you will see that you have an invoice, you have a record, you have a login detail, which means that every time you log on Matspacemall, you can just access your account and see your dashboard, see what you have spent on Matspacemall, see your transaction history. Everything is there. Nobody can alter it. You cannot alter it. You cannot alter it. Okay, so that in the days when you will need to divest from Matspacemall, all you need to do is ask to shop, because we also have the shopping. We also have the buying this and that, submit a shopping list. Okay, so today you don't want to spend your food budget, but you want to keep it to Matspacemall. Just select the food budget, pay for it, and it is there. Okay, then tomorrow you now want to shop. Just go to Submit Shopping List and choose how to pay for it. If you choose to pay with your food budget, we'll automatically look at your record and deduct from your record. That is it. It's done. That is how it goes. So start using Matspacemall today so that we can generate revenue, make profits, invest in our food slot project, and serve your need tomorrow. I think I've done enough.
That's all.